November 4th Blue Springs City Council meeting. We're going to have an invocation from Michael Scott, pastor of the table here in Blue Springs, and then Councilmember Fowler will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will stand with me.
Would you please pray with me? God, we begin this night with thanks. Thank you for this great country. Thank you for our freedoms. Thank you for this great city of Blue Springs. God, we thank you for all that's wonderful people, and specifically tonight for all those who are here tonight to have discussions, God, to talk about issues that are at hand, and I just pray that you would guide those. Thank you for your blessing. May this city continue to be great. May you continue to watch over us. May you guide our conversations and any decisions that are made here tonight. Lord, to this we leave in your hands, and it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can be seated. Thank you, Pastor Scott and Councilmember Fowler, for leading us. I'll now call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is confirmation of a quorum.
Councilmember Kaler.
Present.
Councilmember Tholen is absent. Councilmember Fowler.
Present.
Erickson.
Present.
Edmondson.
Here.
Culpepper.
Present.
Mayor Levesey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, next item is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Kaler.
Aye.
Fowler.
Aye.
Erickson.
Aye.
Edmondson.
Aye.
Culpepper.
Aye.
Mayor Levesey.
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Next item is a public hearing for the links. The city clerk will have some items to read to the record.
Mayor, the city has one exhibit to enter into the record, City Council Information Form dated October 29th, 2024, with the following attachments. Staff report with attachments, application with attachments, affidavit of publication in the Examiner on September 28th, 2024, 185-foot notification map, names, addresses of property owners within 185 feet of the site, copy of letter sent to said property owners, email in opposition, Title 4 Land Use Section Blue Springs Code of Ordinance by reference, 2014 Comprehensive Plan by reference, bill approving rezoning, and the Plan Development Concept Plan with Plan Development Standards attached as Exhibit A, and Plan Development Concept Plan attached as Exhibit B. This is all we have to enter for the record.
Staff, if you'll be sworn in and give us a staff report.
You solemnly swear the testimony about you in this case to be the truth, so help you God.
I do. All right, Chantel Fry, on behalf of the city, 903 West Main Street. Before you this evening, Mayor and council members, we have a rezoning, a plan development concept, and the preliminary plat for the links at Adams Point. The links is generally located north of the Adams Point Golf Course, south of R.D. Mize Road, and also west of the Adams Point Village subdivision. As you can see here, it's outlined in the black and white. And again, to the west is subdivision for Adams Point, Amazon to the north, and then the golf course on both east and south. This chunk of land of the 18.47 plus or minus acres was annexed into the city on May 20th, 2024. It's currently zoned Agriculture County, and the proposed zoning is going to be the PD-R ADPO because it is located in the Adams Dairy Parkway overlay. The applicant is proposing to develop approximately the 18.47 acres of this property to be known as the Links at Adams Point subdivision, consisting of 37 single-family lots, 4 open space tracts of land, with the proposed extension of the northeast Greenway Drive to extend from the Links to the adjacent Adams Point Village subdivision to the west. Here we have the rezoning map, which you can see to the south is agriculture, the residential estate, light industrial, and then Adams Point Village, which is SF7 PRO ADPO. The proposed residential subdivision will offer a variety of homes with a minimal livable floor area of 2,200 square feet for the single family. This area of the comprehensive plan is a C2 area specific, which designates the property to be for small scale multifamily, which would involve a development of 2, 3, and 4 plexes, townhomes, and walk-up apartments. on lots that are sized like the detached housing lots as we see in the plan. Let me zoom. And then when comparing the links at Adams Point subdivision to the type of developments achievable that's outlined in the C2 area specific plan, the units per acre are obviously they're much less dense than what that C2 area would be designated, but it's still comparable to have the small scale single family that would complement this area very nicely with the subdivision to the west. The proposed zoning district of the PDR ADPO allows the applicant to set personalized standards for each of the building types within this development, and the standards have been provided in the written plan development narrative and are also listed in the plan development and building type standards section of the staff report. This subdivision is designed for a density of 2 dwelling units per acre with features of front-loaded single-family homes. The architectural character of the subdivision is provided in the plan development narrative, but it will have a mix of ranch, reverse 1.5 story, and traditional 2-story homes with a variety of elevation, color palettes, and masonry materials. The elevations include materials such as lap siding, cedar shake siding, and hardy boards with many details featuring stone, masonry, and brick. The minimum parking for each of the dwelling of the subdivision has been met with the single-family home. Each of them will come with a 3-car garage, and then there's also the driveway space. Access to the site will be provided from the north and south street of the Northeast Scenic Valley Road, which you see that runs down the heart of the subdivision. It will also intersect with RD Mize that's at the north end of the property. To the northeast portion of this site is the proposed Northeast Greenview Drive, which would be the connection to Adams Point Village. This will provide connection and then also the secondary access point for the links at Adams Point. 5-foot sidewalks are provided on one side of the street in the subdivision, and there is also a provided paved trail that will run along the south side of the subdivision being proposed. The applicant is required to complete half of the road improvements that will also include the sidewalks on RD Mize into the frontage of their subdivision. The rest of RD Mize is a dead-end road into the golf course, so obviously there won't be any extensions there. Traffic memo prepared by a professional engineer states that the anticipated traffic generated for this development does not warrant the full traffic impact study. There's only 37 proposed lots, and per code it's 50 or more for the full-fledged traffic study. The preliminary stormwater management has been submitted it includes multiple detention basins and VMPs to control runoff and water quality. There will be a required final stormwater management that will need to be prepared by a professional engineer. There is gravity sanitary sewer available on the south side of this development. The sewer will have the capacity to convey flows generated for this development, but the developer is responsible for extending the sewer within the property in order to serve the entire site. The applicant has provided a conceptual landscape plan, which is here. All final landscaping, including the required plant units, will also be reviewed with the PD final plan. Each single-family lot will be required to meet the 45 plant unit minimum, plus the applicable street trees required to the issuance of certificate of occupancy. The applicant is proposing a 15-foot landscape easement, which is located to the south side of the subdivision. That will be the buffer for the golf course. And this will also be required to have, each of the lots will be required to have 2 additional evergreen trees to provide in that easement along the 45 plant unit that will act as the landscape easement between the 2 of the golf course and the subdivision. And since the proposed development falls within the Adams Dairy Parkway overlay, the applicant is required a minimum of 15% instead of the required normal 10% that we see of open space, which will be about 2.3 acres plus or minus. And the applicant is providing 2.32 or 15.5% of open space across 2 of the 5 tracts. While 5 tracts are being proposed with the development, only 2 of these are counted towards the open space system as outlined. Tracts A and B are being platted as an active open space. Excuse me. And a trail will be constructed through track A, will hug along the lots to the track that is east and south side, which the trail starts here and will hug along the outside here and come back around until around lot 20. The track is proposed as a landscape easement, as mentioned before, and these easements will be recorded with the final plats of the development. And with the easement, it will be the owner's responsibility to maintain on there, and it will also allow the placement of a wrought iron fence, which will be stipulated on the final plat, to be placed along the south side of that separation. And then the maintenance of the BMPs and detention areas will be maintained by the HOA. And then staff recommends approval of the rezoning application, and staff also recommends approval of the plan development concept plan with the conditions, and staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat applications with conditions. And the applicant is here, and then I'm also here for any additional questions.
Is there any questions for staff from the council? All right, is the applicant present? Want to come up and answer questions, give a presentation?
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be
Yes.
If you can give us your name and address for the record as well.
Chad Reisinger, 114 Southwest Eagles Parkway, Grain Valley, Missouri. I appreciate the opportunity to present the links at Adams Point. Staff did a good job of detailing some of the things we're going to do there. So I'll just keep it brief.
Can you speak into the mic a little bit more there?
Yeah.
Chad?
Briefly about me, I'm from Blue Springs, born and raised here, and built single-family, multifamily residential housing as well as commercial development, and so we're just looking to expand into Blue Springs and bring a nice development here, a smaller development. If you'll notice there, I guess we'll just start there, is if the front elevations as well as the rear elevations of the homes will be aesthetically pleasing. We want to create a rear facade too that faces the golf course that will create some character there as well. So I'll be requiring builders in there to show me a plan there that would break that up a little bit. And let's see, so I guess if we could go to the preliminary or the site plan. So we've created a 37 lot subdivision here, and if we could zoom in just on that area there next to the subdivision next to us, we have done a 22 square foot minimum lot, minimum square footage on the houses throughout the entire subdivision. We didn't do any step downs, but one of the things with talking with the neighbors here and is that we have support for the single family homes, first of all, over the multifamily subdivision there. We have support for the size of the homes and for the size of the lots. We just have we just don't have any support from the neighbors for that road that connects through to there. There's also, if you go to the point of entrance of the property and go out to Coronado, it's just a couple 100 feet over to the next entrance into the subdivision. And there's also along track C and B there on that eastern side a significant stream drainage ditch there. It would require a box culvert, probably some sort of bridge there as well, and be a pretty significant cost there. And with just 37 lots in that subdivision, it would be inhibitive to really build that and keep the lot prices from being too high. So we've also created an alternative design plan for the property that we think is compatible with the subdivision next to it, that we would not bring that road through and connect. And then where you see lot 29 through 32, as well as lot 36 through 33, that would just create an additional open space there. We would not bring any housing over into that area, which I think is consistent with the vision for the property, which would be just to keep as much of the natural landscape and tree canopy as possible for that. And so we have an alternative plan designed that is very, it mirrors this design as well, with all the setbacks and buffers and requirements, and it just doesn't have those lots on it. And so I think we would have support from the neighboring community there and be more compatible with that. Yeah, so I think I think everything else was covered. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any question for the applicant?
Yes.
Councilmember Coleman.
I just want to clarify, I don't see any need to have that connection with the Greenview, but you say you have an alternate plan. I assume that's to do some sort of a cul-de-sac arrangement or something to dead end that without just going and stopping it.
What do you think? What do we say? Do we have? We would submit something then.
He can speak if he gets sworn in.
Be sworn in and give us your name and address.
You solemnly swear that the testimony about taking this case will be true, so help you.
I do. Robert Walquist with Quist Engineering, 512 Wilds Parkway, Greenwood, Missouri. Yeah, what we did on the alternate plan, originally we came to the city with that plan. We were just gonna do 30 lots and go straight out to Artie Mize there and not even put a stub road there. We were just gonna, it would just be there's a wide section to put a walking trail back into that lot, but no stub road. It wouldn't be a dead end that just goes nowhere. It'd just be the Scenic Valley Road would be the only road.
Okay, I just wouldn't want to see a street just go and all of a sudden
Right,
dead end.
exactly. Like they did. They've got a little bit, like, they were gonna put a I think they got a gazebo down there, right there at the dead end. So I think people just park if they're gonna go to this gazebo, but
Okay,
I'm not aware of that, but yeah.
all right, thank you.
Councilmember Erickson.
Your Honor, I think my question is probably more to the staff, but just for the public and for us, could you please tell us the maximum number of lots we could have in a subdivision with only one entrance or exit?
It would be 30 maximum
30? So
before you start or required the secondary.
that's what I had heard, but as I look around the community, there are several subdivisions that have 60, 65 with only one, but they have a street stuck. Is that just because things have changed?
That is the current version of the International Fire Code.
Okay, so 30 is the maximum.
30 is the maximum,
And then
with
to
one,
that-
it essentially being treated as one cul-de-sac.
Okay, so then what you mentioned about the alternative plan to Councilmember Culpepper was 30. Is that
Correct.
Okay. Thanks, appreciate it.
Any other questions from the council? All right, thank you for your presentation. Do you have any more to add, Mr. Reisinger?
No.
Okay. All right, with that, we will go to the audience. Anyone in the audience like to speak in support of? Support of. Anyone speak in opposition to? Any other, oh, come on up, give us your name and address and be sworn in.
Sean Wiegers, 2501 Northeast Amanda.
Speak in the microphone, please.
Come to the microphone.
Sean Wiegers, 2501 Northeast Amanda Lane, Blue Springs, Missouri, 64029.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got 3 minutes to tell us what you're thinking.
So we reviewed these plans. I know we spoke to a couple people in the neighborhood as well. They've reached out to me. We actually support his plan versus the RV park that was going to go in, and the fact that it's not going to connect. And I just think it's not anything against Mr. Reisinger. It's just the fact that the cost of putting the bridge, if you will, would be astronomical, and the price of his lots would have to go up. So we all support it for the majority. And I just want to let you guys know that we are good with this.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anyone else in support? Anyone in opposition to? Opposition to? Any other comments from the applicant? Any other comments from the council?
Your Honor,
Councilmember Kaler.
I would like to continue this to the November 18th council meeting to allow the applicant to submit a revised plan that doesn't show the road to connect with Adams Point Village to accommodate this, but I think staff and I think it would have to go to planning.
Would not have to go back to planning commission. It would, if we could bring back that amendment, it would give staff enough time to look at it and review it with him. And if we continued it then, and council would approve it, then it would go back to planning commission for approval of the preliminary plat.
So we would, excuse me, we'd be able to resolve it in November 18th, correct?
Yes.
So we're continuing the public hearing as well, not just the item 5, so he can, we will resume the public hearing on the 18th, is that
Yes.
right?
Is that a motion? I'll second it, but that's a motion.
That's a motion,
So
sir.
I second the
Okay,
motion.
got a motion and a second, is everybody clear what we're voting on? Councilmember Culpepper.
How did you know? Is there some reason we can't do the rezoning?
The rezoning would be to rezone it to a PD. And as part of an ordinance, it's a singular ordinance that approves the PD and the PD concept
So
plan.
it has to be together.
It has to
Done
be together.
Okay.
All right.
Any questions or discussion? We have a motion and a second, so any discussion on the motion? Okay, does this need to be, could this just be a okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? That will be continued to the November 18th city council meeting. Next item on the agenda, then we'll skip 5, it continues with it. Item number 6 is also a resolution approving the extension of the Main Center Redevelopment Corporation policy. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
A quick question.
Councilmember Erickson.
Is there anything that's changed in this resolution from the past? This is just an extension. Okay, that's all.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Next item, item 7, introduction reading of Bill 5272, amending the Code of Ordinances for MCRC.
I will introduce that.
First reading of Bill 5272, an ordinance amending Section 805.030D of the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, to allow for the continuation of credits for certain fees in the Main Center Redevelopment Corporation for a period of 1 year.
Your Honor, move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Second reading.
Second reading of Bill 5272, an ordinance amending Section 805.030D of the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, to allow for the continuation of credits for certain fees in the Main Center Redevelopment Corporation for a period of 1 year.
Your Honor, move to approve the second reading and provide the proper ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Councilmember Fowler,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Edmondson,
Aye.
Culpepper,
Aye.
Kaler,
Aye.
Mayor Levisay.
Aye.
Motion carries and given ordinance number 5377.
All right, I don't have any speaker appearance forms for visitors. Are there any comments from the council members this evening?
No, we need to go home and cheer on
We
the
need, yeah, we're
Chiefs.
itching for the Chiefs game. We got a little more time than last Monday Night Football. Well, I've got two things. Tomorrow is Election Day, believe it or not. It's finally here. Text messages end on Wednesday. But it will be an exciting day for Councilmember Fowler there. He's on the ballot. So it'll be a busy day for you tomorrow.
Yep.
But polls are open 6 a.m. to 7. So if you have not stood in line for 2 hours like Councilmember Culpepper did to early vote, be sure to get out and vote tomorrow if there's anybody left that hasn't early voted. So that'll be exciting. Also, Monday, next Monday, a week from today, is Veterans Day. I know of 2 veterans in the room. Is any other veterans? Why don't you have the veterans, will you stand with us so we can recognize you tonight? I think there's at least 1 or 2 others. All right. Well, absolutely, thank you for your service. City offices will be closed on Monday, and we will recognize everyone for Veterans Day as well. So with that, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. We are adjourned.
Yes, you can do that.
3 motions and no second.